Hi friends, welcome to my video column, and all of us have been witnessing a very interesting debate which has been going on for the last few days. It's a debate, you can call it Hinduism versus Hindutva. So the detractors of Hindutva, they are saying that Hindutva is a political ideology, Hinduism is a softer version, and Hindutva is a divisive ideology. So in this context, there are a lot of terms which are being used, like Hindu, Hindutva, Hinduness, Hinduism. Then there is concept of Hindu Rashtra. Then there is a debate on dharma versus religion. So we are going to try and have a look at some of these concepts and how these concepts are defined by you can say the votaries or those of Hindutva, for those who believe in Hindutva. So first we'll talk about Hindutva, Hinduness and Hinduism. See, Hindutva is basically the manifestation of Bharatiya way of life, which has been based on Sanatan Dharma. And Sanatan Dharma, you can broadly translate it into an eternal way of life. The English translation of the word Hindutva actually should be Hinduness. The word Hinduism also has almost a similar meaning, such as Hindutva, but as ism represents a dogma and codified beliefs such as capitalism, socialism, etc. So to denote the Bharatiya way of life, those who believe in Hindutva, they believe that Hindutva is a better word. Hindutva is a Hindi word. The English translation, closest English translation is Hinduness. So one may avoid using the word Hinduism. However, one more thing which one should be very clear about is that Hindutva is not a political ideology. It is rooted in a cultural context. So, and it is rooted in the civilizational values of thousands of years which we have witnessed. So to term it as a political ideology or as a divisive ideology, I don't think that would be correct. I think one needs to go back and have a look at the original definition of Hindutva. So there is no conflict actually between Hindutva and Hinduism, and I believe there is a false narrative which has been created, and there is a fake narrative which is being created. So, and now we'll move on to one of the most controversial terms which is often used. The detractors of Hindutva, they often accuse the supporters of or the advocates of Hindutva that you are going to turn this country into a theocratic state in the name of Hindu Rashtra. So we are also going to talk today about what does Hindu Rashtra mean. So Rashtra, first we'll talk about Rashtra. This whole confusion has arisen because people have equated the concept of nation state with Rashtra. Now Rashtra is often equated with nation state or the state in English, which is an English word, and the reason is the evolution of the nation state in Europe. It's a phenomena which took place in around medieval period, around 14th, 15th century, and it was in reaction to the theocratic state. This was never the situation here in India or in Bharat. Here the concept of Rashtra, in English you can broadly translate it into nation, but it is different from nation state. So here the concept of Rashtra has existed since Vedic times, and it is based on a shared view of life by all people living in Bharat, evolving through a unique way of life, or what you call through a unique culture, which the correct actually word is Sanskriti. So now there is a distinction between the nation and the state. State or nation state is a political association, whereas Rashtra is a nation. Rashtra or nation, it means association of people. So when you talk about Hindu Rashtra, it is more of we're talking about people who have shared the same cultural values, the same eternal cultural values, and the same civilizational values. So Hindu Rashtra is actually about the people of Bharat. It is not about the geographical expanse, and it stands for the way of life, for a particular way of life which people on this land, the way they have lived. The Hinduness of our society thus lies in recognizing the divinity within each human being, and the core of the concept of Hindu Rashtra is that religion is a matter of personal faith, or religion is a personal matter, and there should not be any interference in that, and everybody is free to profess their religion. So now you would say that why call it Hindu Rashtra? This whole confusion, again I am mentioning this whole confusion has arisen because people have equated actually dharma with religion. Now religion is associated or religion means denotes a particular way of worship, whereas dharma actually means a particular way of life. So there are many religions in Bharat. You have Islam, you have Christianity, you have Parsis, you have Jews. So there are many religions in Bharat, but there is only one dharma, because there is only one particular way of life which is based on the civilizational values which we have shared. Hence, Hindu dharma cannot be equated with a religion. It's very different. It's largely Hindu dharma talks about civilizational values. The core of Hindu dharma is those eternal civilizational values, not a way of worship. A way of worship is at the core of the religion. So when we talk about Hindu Rashtra, so we are talking about a nation or a group of people who have shared the same eternal civilizational values. So there is no communal angle in it. And as I said, that the individuals in Bharat, the concept of Hindu Rashtra is also based on this core belief that individuals can choose any religious path to attain their spiritual goals. And what is dharma now? Dharma is broadly a way of life, and if I elaborate upon it a little bit, Dattopant Thengdi, one of the senior most ideologues and one of the stalwarts of RSS, so he has written a book called The Third Way, in which he says that dharma in practice comprises the unchanging, eternal, universal laws and the ever-changing socio-economic order in the light of these universal laws. And he says that perceived oneness in the midst of all diversities, which in Sanskrit we call avibhaktam vibhakteshu. So this has been the eternal message of Sanatana Dharma or Hindu Dharma. Now let's come to the concept of secularism. So secularism is actually one of the most misused terms in this country. It was added to the preamble in 1976. It was not there in the original constitution. And secularism, those who believe in Hindu, they believe that secularism is irrelevant in Bharat or in India. The reason is that actually the concept of secularism, or as it is practiced or professed in India by the detractors of Hindutva and those who term the Hindutva as anti-secular or a communal ideology, so they are actually using the Western framework. The concept of secularism had originated in Europe as a response to the theocratic states. In Bharat, we never had a theocratic state. In India, we never had a theocratic state. Here, all the religions have been treated equally for centuries. The Parsis, the Jews, the Syrian Christians, all of them came from outside and settled in India, and they were treated equally. And they practiced their religion freely without any discrimination. So there was no need to bring this concept of secularism here. We were already secular. So this concept of secularism actually has been used more in context of appeasement of minorities. This is the viewpoint of those who believe in. And then I would the concept of Swadeshi. This also comes. Swadeshi does not mean the anti-globalization. Swadeshi does not mean also you can say that will be confined to only our country and there will be no connect with the rest of the world. Swadeshi is actually not merely a concept, economic concept also. Swadeshi is the outward practical manifestation of patriotism. I am again quoting Dattopant Thengdi. And it is wrong to presume that Swadeshi concerns itself only with goods or services. That is more of an incidental aspect. Essentially, Swadeshi concerns the spirit determined to achieve national self-reliance, preservation of national sovereignty and independence and international cooperation on equal footing. So there has to be international cooperation, but it has to be on equal footing. Then another debate, another aspect of this debate on Hinduism versus Hindutva is we very often use the word tolerance. That Hinduism is tolerant and Hindutva is not tolerant. So actually tolerance is a wrong word to be used. No, tolerance is a negative word. It means that कि आप किसी को बर्दाश्त कर रहे हैं, जो है आप करना तो नहीं चाहते लेकिन आप बर्दाश्त कर रहे हैं. So you are bearing it, with lot of discomfort. Actually, those who believe in Hindutva, if you go a little more deeper into this concept of Hindutva goes much beyond tolerance and believes in acceptance. As Swami Vivekananda said in the Parliament of World Religions in 1893 Chicago, We go beyond tolerance and we accept all ways of worship to be true. So, in a nutshell, the essence of Hindutva is what you call spiritual democracy. Not tolerance, but acceptance. And last, we will discuss about relatively less talked about concept, and it's called third way. So actually, since 1970s, 1970s, there has been a debate on the different paradigms of development. We have seen that socialism or communism is almost defunct in the world, and capitalism is kind of terminally ill. And there has to be a third way to find solutions of the global problems. So this third way, actually, as I said, I will suggest my viewers that if you can go back and read Dattopan Thendi's book Third Way, I think it would be available online also, and it would give you the concept of neither capitalism nor socialism, but third way provides you the solution which is based on, as I said earlier, the eternal civilizational values, the Bharatiya values, which believe that consumption should be restricted broadly and people should live a very balanced and sustained or sustainable way of life. The third way talks about a more humane, non-exploitative, holistic and spiritually elevating way of running our societies, our countries, and living our lives. So this is the third way, and those who believe in Hindu, they believe that neither capitalism nor socialism or communism, but third way can actually provide you the permanent solution of the world's problems. And so that's it for this video column, and do share your feedback. Thank you for watching. We'll soon be back in our next episode with a new subject. Thank you.